Final Fantasy VII might have one of the most exhausting fan bases to be a part of right now. The Remake series has created a situation where almost every conversation becomes a weird purity test of some kind. Too much praise? Lol. Shill. Bro, why are you shilling out? Check out Shillington's Shilldozer over here. Oh, but you can't criticize it too much though. That puts you in the hater zone. That's right. You, my friend, hate all things in the galaxy. Breathing is overrated, and eating a warm oatmeal cookie with a smile on your face? Sorry, mate. That's a crime punishable by death. You can like the combat, but not too much though. You gotta be a little bit careful with that one. Because if you like it too much, then basically you're taking a poop on the entirety of turn-based combat, period. You can even like the characterization, but don't go too far with that either, because, I mean, everybody knows if you like the characterization, that automatically means that you thought Red 13's voice change was absolutely fabulous. Too many minigames, not enough materia. Why is there a Sekiro parry in my turn-based ATB action game? Wait, hold on, is that an Ubisoft tap? No, at this point, the argument is no longer just, are Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth good games? The argument has essentially become, what is Final Fantasy VII even supposed to be? Which is a question I intend to both explore and answer in this video. I'm not here to discuss whether Remake is good or bad, but rather why the conversation around it has become so toxic. I'm not here to tell Remake fans that they're delusional. And I'm not here to tell critics that they should just shut up and be grateful. But what I am gonna do is engage in some high-grade BS. I'm about to summon the forbidden text, discovered and verified by Lisan Al-Gaib himself. BS, by the way, that doesn't just stand for bullshit. It also stands for, say it with me now, both sides. Yep, I'm sorry, I do not mean to present this as if I just hit you on the head with some never-before-seen galaxy brain position, but sometimes it really is the case that both sides can have fair points. And something else that both sides have done lately is become painfully bad at hearing each other. The people who love these games can be way too defensive, and the people who hate them can be far too comfortable being unfair. Somewhere underneath all the noise, there is a much better conversation about nostalgia, expectations, adaptation, and what happens when you remake one of the most beloved RPGs ever made. If the algorithm gods somehow guided you to this video and you have no idea what the fantasy and the final is, then let me quickly present the foundation for what's caused this entire mess. Bro, you done the intro. The intro was like 20 seconds ago. What you doing? Wait, I did the intro. Yeah, you done the intro. You're like do. You done the intro, man. Oh snap, my bad. I don't know what's going on. So basically, when Square Enix announced FF7 Remake, a lot of people expected a modern version of the original game. Same core story, same major emotional moments, updated visuals, modern combat, voice acting, expanded scenes, maybe some extra details here and there. That's what the word remake usually means to most people. The game starts like a faithful retelling, then slowly reveals that it's playing with fate, memory, and the audience's knowledge of the original story. Rebirth takes that even further. In some ways, it gives fans exactly what they wanted. You get the world map, more party banter, gold saucer, Cosmo Canyon, everybody loves Cosmo Canyon, and huge sections of the original story brought to life with high production value. But alongside that, you also get Zack and his very, very different presence in the game. You get alternate world / potential timeline implications, Sephiroth interfering with the story way earlier and far more aggressively, and an ending that left people arguing for days, weeks, months over what it is they even saw transpire on their screen. Others felt like there was just too much going on, and one of the most iconic moments or games in gaming history was just obscured by some random Pokemon trainer throwing the Pokeball. Out comes Weezing, smoke attack, Weezing! Smoke attack, smoke screen fills up the whole screen, and nobody knows what's happening. That is the core split. One side sees the remake project as an ambitious reimagining that respects the original while trying to surprise people who already know the story. The other side sees it as a bait and switch that promised a remake and then turned it into a timeline mystery box. And I don't think either reaction is automatically stupid. If you love the direction of the new games, I understand why. The character writing is strong, the combat is truly engaging, and seeing this world recreated with this level of detail is genuinely special. But If you feel like the remake series overcomplicates moments that were cleaner and more powerful in the original, I also understand that. The disagreement itself is fine. The problem is how tribal it's become. Two content creators have become symbolic of this divide: Cloud and Sephiroth. Only joking. I mean, Maximilian Dude and Sebi Webbs. Max is often treated as the face of the positive remake fanbase. He's enthusiastic, he doesn't shy away from a theory craft session here and there, he clearly loves Final Fantasy VII, and Square Enix is very aware of how important his voice is in the community. And because of that, some people have just decided to identify him as a shill. And despite me disagreeing with people putting that jacket on him, and also me feeling that it's a label that gets thrown around way too easily, I do have the ability to contort and twist my brain in such a fashion to somewhat understand where the suspicion comes from, especially if you only engage with Max's content via clips as opposed to full videos or streams. When a creator becomes closely associated with a game's marketing cycle via exclusive interviews or is told by the devs personally that they love his videos, viewers naturally start asking whether that person can still be fully objective. The problem is when people jump from, I think Max is too close to the project, to, Max is lying, he's forging fake excitement, he's being paid off, and I hate his face. Those are completely different accusations. Being excited is not proof of corruption. Having access does not auto make someone fake. Sometimes a person is just a huge fan who genuinely believes what they are saying. With Max, the issue is not that he's pretending, because he isn't. The issue, in my opinion, is that since he, like many of us, are quite emotionally invested in FF7, he, and I guess we, by extension, sometimes give the remake project a much more higher tier benefit of the doubt, whereas a more detached critic wouldn't do that. Max's excitement can sometimes make the mystery box side of the remake series feel way more rewarding than it does for the average player. If you enjoy theorizing, looking for hidden meanings, and connecting every detail to some larger plan, you'll be feasting on these games for days, like Luffy and the Straw Hats every time they beat one of the big bads in the One Piece arc. But if you wanted the emotional story of FF7 told clearly and directly, this approach might feel disappointing. And before you know it, you're going to be standing at your window doing the Squidward meme IRL. Now, on the other side of this coin, we have Sebi Webbs. He speaks more to fans who are tired of modern Final Fantasy, fatigued with action combat, fed up with overcomplicated storytelling, and have essentially had enough of being told that they just don't get it whenever they criticize the remake series. And if we can all be balanced here, there are real critiques in this lane. Even if we just look at the title of FF7 Remake, right? Like, take a step back and just look at it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Whether we like it or not, this name definitely created certain expectations. Yes, fans can argue that remake has a double meaning. The title might be part of the story in the sense that Sephiroth may be remaking the timeline or the universe as opposed to remaking the original PS1 game into the modern era. But let's not pretend that the average person saw that title and expected a semi-sequel reimagining, fate-breaking, multi-universal project. Most people heard Final Fantasy VII Remake and assumed they were getting Final Fantasy VII Remade. So when critics say that they felt a little bit of a bait and switch, I don't think that's unreasonable. When they say Rebirth's ending was too abstract, that's an understandable position. When they say Aerith's big moment became so layered in uncertainty that the immediate emotional impact was weakened, I get it. The original scene is iconic because it's direct and pierces straight through the heart. Pun fully intended, by the way. It gives you shock, silence, loss, and grief. Whereas Rebirth gives you something more fractured and psychologically complicated, which may end up paying off in the third game, but also means the moment doesn't land the same way. Some fans love that ambiguity. Others wanted the tragedy to breathe. Both reactions make sense. Where Sebi loses me is not the fact that he critiques the game. It's the style of the critique. Now, I can already hear the counterattacks winding up. Or, hang on, so the problem isn't what I'm saying, it's just how I'm saying it? Well, sorry mate, that's just how I talk, take it or leave it, yeah? If that's going to be your argument, how about no? Stop being immature about how language works and quit pretending that tone and choice of delivery doesn't matter. There is a difference between saying, this scene didn't work for me, versus building a whole fortress of content around making the game look as stupid as possible. If you constantly focus on the worst clips, the goofiest dialogue, the strangest scenes, and the easiest moments to mock, you're not giving people a fair picture of the work. You are feeding an audience that already wants to be angry. That kind of content works, but it also makes the conversation a whole lot worse. The danger with rage-driven criticism is that it trains the audience to reject nuance. Everything has to be a complete disaster. Every awkward line becomes proof that the entire game is hot garbage. Every fan who likes it becomes a shill, a fake fan, someone who's coping. That is not serious criticism. That is entertainment built out of contempt. The frustrating thing is that Sebi and people who agree with him can sometimes point to legitimate problems. Rebirth is bloated in places. Some story choices are messy. The ending isn't as emotionally clean as the original, at least so far. Those are fair topics. But when those points are buried under exaggeration and mockery, the people who love the game stop listening. This is where the community has failed itself, in my opinion. Remake fans hear criticism and immediately assume bad faith. Critics hear praise and immediately assume blind fanboying. Then, the discussion turns into a courtroom where everyone is trying to prove the other side is dishonest. If you enjoyed Rebirth, you have to somehow prove that you're not a fake fan. If you dislike the ending, you also have to somehow prove that you're not a fake fan. This is what it's come to now, and it's one of the worst habits in any modern fandom. People stop discussing the art and start attacking the legitimacy of the person reacting to it. The reality is that FF7 Remake and Rebirth are both impressive, and they're both flawed. That's why, for the most part, I'm really not fond of the way that either extreme talks about this series. Now, where I personally land is quite simple. I like the Remake series a lot. I think Remake was a strong first entry, and I think Rebirth, despite its flaws, is one of the most impressive RPGs I've played in years. The party chemistry, excellent. The best character moments are genuinely powerful, and the combat system is up there as like one of my favorites of all time. Right next to Sekiro, Guardian Heroes, Grandia 2, Soul Calibur 1, like, it's up there. In fact, you should have seen how I was shouting at my screen when Max had Hamaguchi in his house and somehow didn't ask him which fighting game the Remake team took inspiration from, because, I mean, come on, they had to have at least one fighting game on their mind, right? Like Marvel 3, I can only think of Marvel 3 right now because of all the comparisons of like I'm sorry, but like some of those synergy team up abilities, that it just makes me want to shout, "It's Marvel, baby," 12 times every morning on a Sunday and then do it again on Wednesday. Like, it's just like, I mean, just Max, please listen. Next time you get the chance, please ask him, what fighting game were you and the Rebirth team playing while doing multiple mushrooms? I need to know. Thank you. As for my main personal critiques, going back to talking about the actual game, I'm not really a fan of some of the vague posting approach to some story aspects. I also think exploration in Rebirth is pretty non-existent, like everything has to guide you. It's not just the Ubisoft towers, it's also the random owl that can show up and take you to the materia place with all the materials, and then there's the rocks that you can break, and then the light comes out and then you follow the light. It's the baby chocobo that takes you to the chocobo stops, like that. This is too much. We need to be able to be trusted to find things on our own. And apparently that might be coming in the third game. I really hope it does, because if it doesn't, I think that will be a huge missed opportunity. And another critique of mine is I just have to mention the ending, right? Like, yes, it's thought-provoking, but it is cluttered. However, none of these things that I just listed make me hate the game. It just means that I'm not going to pretend that every criticism is invalid simply because I enjoyed the experience overall. As we head to the final part of this trilogy, the community probably needs to calm down a little. Some fans are going to love where this goes. Others are going to feel betrayed. Some will cry, some will rage post, some will make 6-hour theory videos explaining why a flower pot in Sector 5 confirms a new timeline. That is unavoidable. Final Fantasy VII means too much to too many people for everyone to react the same way. But that brings me back to my opening point. The problem is not that people disagree. The problem is that every disagreement becomes a loyalty test. Like what you like and don't apologize for it. If Remake and Rebirth mean a lot to you, own that. If the ending worked for you, say so. If Max's excitement makes the series more fun to follow, enjoy it. But be fair when someone brings up criticism that actually makes sense. You do not have to agree with it, but you should be able to recognize when it's reasonable. The same standard applies to the critics too. Final Fantasy VII is about identity, grief, trauma, and trying to move forward without completely losing the past. Ironically enough, that's kind of what the fanbase is struggling with right now. Some fans are holding on to the original so tightly that any change feels like disrespect. Others are holding on to the Remake series so tightly that any form of critique feels like an attack. Both sides need to loosen their grip. Because caring about something shouldn't make us worse at talking to each other. It should make us better. Like the game, dislike the game, praise it, criticize it, argue about it, make your videos, make your tweets, do whatever you want. Just be honest, be fair, and please stop acting like every person who experiences FF7 differently from you is either a shill or a hater. Because if the live stream teaches us anything, it's that everything is connected. Unfortunately, that includes Twitter, which isn't good for anyone except Elon and his pockets. So tread lightly, be fair and kind, and subscribe to my channel if you appreciated this video. And comment below too. This channel is literally the size of the OBS icon on my desktop, so I'll be reading everything and everything. I have no excuse. Also, I sometimes stream and have discussions like this very frequently of a variety of different topics, not just gaming, but like stuff going on in the world and other media stuff, movies and comics and manga and anime. So if you like that sort of thing, please stop by and say hi. Hope to see you there. Earthbender Charlie out.